Welcome back to Some Politicon, your channel on politics, political science, and academic life. Today I come to spread accurate information about what's going on in the Middle East and to set the record straight. So, there are many people that are making the argument that Iran is a repressive authoritarian regime and that regime needs regime change, war, and it's been as a justification to sort of manufacture consent for an intervention which has had very little success. At least American political opinion remains firmly opposed to it, to American involvement in such an operation. Regardless, it has happened because American foreign policy is co-opted by the Epstein class, and Israel is using the files and the true nature of Trump's relation with Jeffrey Epstein as a Damocles sword hold against his neck to push him to do their bidding. And it's a shame because Iran used to be the only democracy in the Middle East. In the words of Shlomo Sand, Israel is not a democracy. And Shlomo Sand is a world-renowned Israeli historian. So if Israel is not a democracy, as is so often touted by American foreign policy makers, then who was the only democracy in the Middle East? Iran. In 1951, the democratically elected government of Mossadegh nationalized the oil industry, which up to that point was controlled and owned by what nowadays is British Petroleum. Sadly, just in 2 years' time, in 1953, the American CIA and the British MI6 staged a coup against Mossadegh, using very similar tactics as they tried to at first against the Ayatollah regime. They use a lot of money to bribe protesters and to turn the protest violent, and eventually they got a democratic regime to collapse, and in its place they installed the Shah, and his regime was extremely bloodthirsty and repressive. And if you pay attention to the Iranian diaspora that is making the case for a regime change operation nowadays, they often wave two flags. One is the Israeli flag, and the other is the Shah's, the monarchist flag. And this is because the Shah was a repressive government that was a puppet regime for the Americans and the British, and also very submissive to the Zionist entity. So don't fall for misinformation. There used to be a single democracy in the Middle East, and it wasn't Israel. And nowadays, the same country is being attacked, not out of the interest of the Iranian people at heart, but out of Israel's expansionist ambitions, which the only country in the Middle East that can stand up to them is Iran. Make no mistake, if they were as authoritarian as the Gulf states, but as submissive as them to Israel, they will not be in this bind. It's not because they're authoritarian, but because they oppose Israel that they're being attacked. And they wouldn't be an authoritarian regime if it was not because of the intervention of imperialist powers. Free Palestine and stay informed.